Hello and welcome to It Doesn't Work That Way with me, Kalisha Zachery.
And myself, Joe Knighten, filling in for Kalisha Zachery.
Yes, J.M. Knighten is here again. Thank you for being here, Joe.
Of course. I'm glad I could be here. Like I said, I like it here.
Come on, Pegasus on the hat. Is
you know
that
what I'm saying?
hat?
No, this one's not a dad hat. This is actually one of my few snapbacks.
Okay.
So this is a snapback, and this is Pegasus, who is right here in Dallas.
Hello. Okay, tell me, what's the snapback versus dad hat?
So the snapback is that snap that you can adjust, just popping in, and the dad hat is either material or leather based, and you can weave it through and adjust it without the snaps and everything like that.
You learn something new every time you listen to It Doesn't Work That Way. So, Joe, if, for this season, at the top of the season, I did cover the Lively versus Baldoni.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I'm watching that case very closely, Joe.
And why are you watching that case very closely?
A few reasons.
Okay.
It's giving me a inside look at the underbelly of Hollywood in legal proceedings.
Oh, that's very important to know. Okay.
So where you knew it was stuff happening that just didn't seem right, but now you're actually getting to see it in text messages.
Oh.
Yeah. So I've been following it. And then the other part was I'm a producer.
Yes.
And Watts Productions has its company similar to Wayfarer, which is the production company that produced what's the name of it? It Ends With Us.
Okay.
And they produced that film. And so that interested me from a production standpoint. And then also the sexual harassment, the intimacy coordinator, and the whole PR part of it.
Right.
So this topic that I want to cover today, because this is a hot topic in pop culture. People are watching it nonstop. And by the time this episode airs, I don't know, maybe they'll have a settlement. Who knows? Yeah. But I want to break it down in the context of control.
Okay.
That's where I really want to come from today. And it could be in any business. It doesn't have to be in film, but it could be with any business USA, where you're working through something and, it's bigger than yourself. So my question is, no one will take advantage of an inexperienced, naive business owner.
Oh, you know what? It doesn't work that way.
It don't, Joe. It don't. There's some wolves out there.
Absolutely. And they see you got a good heart, they will try to snatch it right out your chest.
Oh, Joe. And I really want to hear from you, from being a male, being an actor, a writer, just to give some context to the case, that I would have never watched this movie had I not seen everything that went down on the case. I stated this on a previous episode. I was a huge fan of Gossip Girl. Don't judge me.
No judgment from me.
It was good. It was my guilty pleasure. And I watched the show, so I knew who Blake Lively was. And then I had no idea who Justin Baldoni was. I've never seen an episode of Jane the Virgin. I don't know anything about it. And then this movie came out. I wasn't going to see it. It wasn't something I wanted to see. I wasn't a part of the fandom. But the book had a fandom, and the book has been adapted to the film. Okay. So they had a built-in audience, which is great.
Right.
And then, but I had heard of Wayfarer Company.
Okay.
From a production standpoint, I heard about how they secured their financing through a billionaire who was backing them, and the ethos of their company, which was to make quality films.
Right.
And I saw a lot of similarities between Watts Productions and them.
Right.
So when I heard that they were the ones that were involved in this, I was like, what? I was like, sexual assault? How does that go? You want to do something good and, sexual harassment, toxic working conditions, and these people are trying to make film for good. Then at the end of December, she released her complaint in her article that basically accused him of all of these horrific things. And the first thing I said was, I immediately believed her. I did not stop, Joe, and look at it from a male point of view.
Yeah, it's I think it's one of those things too, speaking as a male, where you have a lady who comes out with accusations and you're kind of like staring down the gun barrel at that point in time as a man, because things have happened so much and you don't get that benefit of the doubt depending on who you are. Even depending on who you are, as soon as the accusations come out, I think we kind of hear certain people, and some of us are kind of apt to be like, nah. And then it comes out later like, no, it really didn't happen. And then the ones where we're like, nah, and then it did happen, we're like, oh. But we, when it comes to that, I feel like more times than not, we're often like, oh, he's guilty because he is a man.
Joe, and I my heart go out to men. I love men. Listen, if being a feminist is hating men, then don't call me a feminist, because I ain't that. Okay, and I believe there are some toxic men.
There are,
and there are some toxic women.
There are,
and I believe, in my opinion, through what I've seen, that this could be the reverse. This could be a toxic woman in the situation, going after just a regular good guy. Nobody does it better than the Watts Podcast Network.
Just that simple.
Just that simple.
Thank you for listening. It Doesn't Work That Way podcast is sponsored by Frame of Reference. The series explores the vulnerable and often hectic lives of a close group knit of friends and provides a truthful evaluation of how fear and past misfortunes can define our present point of view. You can stream season 1 of Frame of Reference on the Roku channel, Tubi TV, or Prime Video.
I agree with you. And because of that, we don't ever think about how hard it is for a male to recover from things that are false. So it's like once the damage is done in the public eye, even though they are acquitted in trial or it comes out the allegations to be false, it's hard to recover from having that moment and that image being attached to you, because there are still people skeptic on the outside who are like, no, he did that, he did this. So it's something that it's a tough river to go up. It's like a boat without a paddle trying to travel upstream. And now I'm innocent. You find out that I'm innocent of these things, but because of the situation and the topic of it, it's so much gravitas to it. So gravity it just pulls you in like a black hole. It's hard to climb out of that.
And the thing that got me was, these are, Blake Lively is married to Ryan Reynolds. Yes. Deadpool. I don't know. Are you a Deadpool fan?
I am a Deadpool fan. I took my son.
Yeah, people love that franchise.
Yeah,
and on the surface, Ryan Reynolds just seems like a super cool dude.
He does.
Mint Mobile. He's
got the gin company.
He got the aviation gin.
The soccer team.
He has a soccer team. He's just a businessman, diversifying his portfolio, and he has this franchise. And on the surface, had this case not come to light, I would have always thought that. If in my personal opinion, if Justin Baldoni did not fight back, I probably would have been demonizing him, because I didn't do. Critical thinking left my mind when they said a woman was sexually harassed or a woman was sexually assaulted, and that can't be, because you can't just believe all women, because women do lie.
That's true. And level setting that, men lie too. And just from the standpoint of Justin Baldoni having the resources to fight back.
Yes.
Because then what about the actors on certain levels who can't fight back against accusations like that, and it's over before it even gets started?
Oh, like my bank account can't afford, a $350,000 retainer.
Not at all.
But when you look at Blake and Ryan, you see that they are successful. And sometimes we take success and we attach honorable to it.
Which then attaches truth.
Correct.
They wouldn't lie to us.
Correct. Correct. We bought into it. I loved her as Serena Vanderwoodson. I actually thought Leighton Meester, who played Blair Waldorf, was the true star of the show. I think Serena was a good secondary. Just as far as the storyline and how they did that, you couldn't deny Leighton's talent. But I think for me, what I really want to drive home, and the reason why I'm talking about this, is because you have to be mindful about what appears as collaboration, but the intent is really to control the project.
Right.
So at the end of the day, what I found out in my research is, and why I was so enamored with this story, is because I would have never gotten to see this I don't think it would have came out the way it did. But at one point, this movie had a fandom from TikTok is what I've heard or researched. And the author is actually from Texas.
Oh, okay.
I think Carrollton area.
Oh,
maybe, or somewhere in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
But she wrote this book. It found an audience. They loved it. This Justin guy basically courted her to have Wayfarer produce these books into movies because he wanted to highlight the importance of protecting women in domestic violence situation, encouraging them to leave, and having the man look at himself. Now, if that ain't honorable.
I was just about to say that is a very honorable action.
Mm-hmm.
A man to take the initiative on highlighting domestic abuse, excuse me.
And then, Joe, don't go down the Justin Baldoni rabbit hole, because you'll find out that he openly addresses how he was addicted to porn, how he overcame it. He openly has a TED Talk about how he didn't listen to his romantic relationships and how he had to check himself and how he did the work. And you're like, oh my God, this guy is truly changing.
Right.
You know, he's like on this whole trajectory. And then he's not just talking it, you know, being performative like they did during George Floyd, and everybody put up black squares and then ran from it when the government changed. Let me stop.
It's real though. It's real though. You're saying that this guy was staying true and operating to his ethos of what he had before even coming in contact with the books.
Yes. And then he said, okay, I'm going to put this in real life.
Yeah.
I'm about to make this movie. And he signs her. The first red flag from what I can tell is that she refused to sign her contract.
Why?
Because that was her first initiative. In my opinion, that is a way for you to assert control.
Okay.
So say Michael B. Jordan want to work with Watts Productions, I'm gonna just call that into fruition.
Absolutely, I'm agreeing with you.
Oh, okay. So say he want to work with Watts Productions. He's a superstar,
right?
I didn't know Wayfarer, but Blake Lively's married to Ryan Reynolds, and she has her own name in Hollywood as well. So it's like, it's a level of star power, which is good for marketing, right? So I want her to be in this film. She's the right person to play this character. I'm going to just be lenient, maybe. And she just never signed a contract. But in my opinion, that was the first step into exerting control, because the further we go down into the creative process and the more time we done spent, the more money is out there, then you can start to leverage it.
Right.
Oh, so we filming. You about to try to recast me?
Right.
What's that going to do to the project? You know what I mean? So that was one thing that I saw. And then she began to woo him with her superstar friends, which is Taylor Swift and everybody else that she know in Hollywood, Hugh Jackman, whatever, just some juggernauts in the industry.
That's why you can't be easily impressed.
Exactly. And intimidate him a little bit. This is what it appears to intimidate him, and slowly but surely. And then she asked to rewrite the scene.
The scene or
a scene in the movie.
Okay.
Have you ever asked your writer, can I rewrite? Like, go on Final Draft.
Oh, no.
Go in Writer's Duet. Like, can you send me the final draft? Can you send me the Writer's Duet?
Absolutely not.
Right.
Let me rewrite this for you. I think I got to,
And that's what's in the text messages.
No.
So as a producer, I'm like, would she have asked that of Martin Scorsese? Or did she? I'm gonna say no too. Yeah. Or did she only ask it? Not to say Martin Scorsese doesn't want to collaborate.
Right.
Collaborate and authorship is two different things. So I was like, what? So that was the other thing. And then because he was kind, he let her. And you could see in the text message, you could see his struggle.
Yeah.
His attorney is quite brilliant, and he listed it all on a website. You can just Google it online and you'll find it if you want to go down that rabbit hole. I just warn you, be careful, because it's a whole rabbit hole. But from a producer standpoint, he let her. And I think that the first sign should have been like, sign the contract, you know, you got to hold the line.
Right.
But because he was kind, and you know, maybe this is his first venture at this level of a film under his production company, I believe that naivety became, you know, a smell of blood to a predator.
Absolutely. And that's why I've been warned in this industry that you can't go along to get along. Because, no pun intended, it doesn't work that way. And he should have, you gotta, no matter who was sitting in front of you, let your no be no. Be like, no, Lovell said it. Because I guarantee you, if it was the other way around, he would have signed that contract for her. And they wouldn't have moved forward without it. Okay.
He would have. And this is why at Watts we say you must take time when working with people and vet them. So to your point, now Baldoni named Lively and Reynolds in a lawsuit accusing the Hollywood power couple, there it is, Hollywood power couple, of hijacking the film. And that took him 5 years to get this film, Joe.
Oh my gosh.
5 years plus money.
Right.
Orchestrating a smear campaign against him to achieve essentially what they want. This is my opinion, allegedly, whatever. It looks very, very suspect here. And, you know, I think as leaders, we must be aware that collaborators could try to usurp authority. And that means taking control or power that rightfully doesn't belong to them. Joe, at the end of this whole thing, when I got to the end of all of this stuff, he didn't even have director's cut, and he's the director.
What do you mean by that? So I have further understanding.
So when you get to the Hollywood level, the DGA, the Directors Guild of America, has provisions to protect a director to be able to work on the cut of their film unencumbered.
So he didn't have essentially creative control over what the final product was going to be.
No, she showed the film in Grapevine, Texas, at a AMC, I think at a movie theater in Grapevine. She flew here and showed the film here.
And he had nothing to do with that?
No, he wasn't invited. At this point, she done usurped the entire thing.
Absolutely. What?
And I think for me, now they're accusing him. Now it's a bunch of it's just childish stuff. But the thing that gets me is that we have it fixated in our head that because these people are successful in power couples, that they have some type of moral high ground. And that may not always be the case.
That's true.
That's number one. And number two, they take people who are kind and they take that for weakness. There was an article released on Justin, who did all of this work, and they said that he was toxic. He had toxic positivity, and I had to define it because I ain't never heard of this. I didn't even. Those sound like an oxymoron.
Yeah, because how can positivity be toxic?
I'm asking for a friend. Toxic positivity is the pressure to maintain an upbeat attitude even in the face of hardship, which can prevent individuals from processing and expressing their true emotions, potentially leading to a negative mental health outcome.
Being on all the time.
I'm like, if this man is trying to tell you to, some people just want to be negative and they want to stay negative. And if you have to have a negative moment, go have it outside. Right. But if it's constant, it cultivates a negative culture and it's not healthy. And now that's what they're accusing him in. So when you have a son.
I do.
You're going to teach him to be respectful towards women.
Absolutely.
I see you when you're on set and you're like constantly checking for the comfortableness of your scene partner.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I don't want there to ever be anything misconstrued or misinterpreted that can land me in situations like this. Exactly.
And there's always, at Watts Productions, we have an intimacy survey. We have Cashel as our director and creative director she is the intimacy coordinator. We make it very open, very healthy. And he tried to do that with her. And now she's accusing him of this. And here's where the scary part is for men, in my opinion. And I'm only going off of how I felt when I initially read it. I didn't say, well, dang, can we get the facts?
Automatically guilty.
Why is that?
Because I think for one, history has told us that men are capable, or anyone is capable, but men are more so the committers of these heinous crimes and things like that, to where when something as vulnerable as like sexual contact or things like that, that men are viewed as taking these things. And it's an automatic guilt. It's an automatic guilt just based off of the person being a man.
The #1 selling product of its kind with over 20 years of research and innovation. Botox Cosmetic, onabotulinum toxin A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow and eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
Lights, camera, innovation. Walt Disney Studios chose advanced 5G solutions from T-Mobile for Business to transform the movie-making process. Together, we kept a remote production hub in Hawaii in sync with a team in California to bring Lilo and Stitch to theaters this summer. This is picture-perfect collaboration. This is Walt Disney Studios with T-Mobile for Business. Take your business further at T-Mobile.com/now.
Thank you for listening. It Doesn't Work That Way podcast is sponsored by The Watts Announcer. The Watts Announcer is a media brand that covers the amazing emerging talents in the entertainment industry, including movies, TV, and more. The inaugural episode features the cast of Frame of Reference. Hosted by Amanda Gaddison, the exclusive interview will be available only on the Watts Prod YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe for notifications.
Yeah, it's a hard thing.
I don't know what that's
why I'm cautious the way that I am, because even though we have the intimacy contact and what we sign for Watts, even before there is any contact made, it's level set again. Hey, you signed this, correct? This is what you said you're comfortable with. This person signed this, and then they come to us as individuals. Are you okay with her putting her hand on your shoulder? Okay. Are you okay with him placing his hand on your hip? And it is very detailed. So there is no level of confusion of like, well, he touched me here, he didn't do that.
He liked me in real life. Right. He trying, I'm Joe trying to go home after set.
I'm saying, and I'm even weary too, like of not going too low on their back.
Yeah.
And if there's a permission, I'm like, okay, well, let me just make sure. Even in the scene, just to, because I'm always checking in for comfortability, because I've wanted to be a safe space because of stories I hear.
Yes. What stories have you heard? Leave the names to protect the innocent.
Stories like this, or stories where I heard a story about a young lady who was taken advantage of for a production and had her doing things outside of what was called for. It's misleading. Or you see things in film, and watching some films, and I'm questioning, like on an independent level, like on a lower level, and I'm questioning like, whoa, were they really okay with that? And but also you hear the stories going up, you hear the big juggernauts
like Honora,
like that, and then like you have like the Weinstein stories, you have the other stories from, I don't want to go too deep off into that, but it's just like I don't ever want to get caught up in anything like that. So I go out of the way to where it's like that, and if somebody has to say something about me where the people around me really know my conduct, they'll be like, no. And I'm worried about too, like being left alone with like
Sterling K. Brown said, leave that trailer door open. You come in here, but that door staying open.
Yeah, I'm weary of things like that. Like, hey, let's get to somebody. We got a third party there, and I'm not talking about God. I'm talking about I need somebody physically there with me.
Not the Holy Spirit and God. You like, nah, who else here?
Because like I said, it's hard to shake those accusations. Yeah.
And that's why what they're doing to basically essentially my research, I believe, is that they wanted to usurp this franchise, similar to what I've now learned that is alleged that Ryan Reynolds did with Deadpool. I've never seen a Deadpool movie. Okay. And when I found out it was part of the Marvel universe, I was like, is it really? And then it is when I go to my Disney app, and sometimes I'll go back and watch the like the Captain America, like the beginning. I'll do the whole Marvel thing from the beginning to the end because they have it in the timeline where you can watch it all the way through. Yeah. But I didn't know that Deadpool and Wolverine, I don't remember seeing
them together.
Well, I don't remember seeing Deadpool. I know Wolverine is from X-Men,
yes.
right?
Absolutely.
But I've never seen Deadpool with Tony Stark.
Right. No.
So now, but then when they said this was a part of Marvel, I was like, is it really? So then on my research, it's alleged that the first director on that first film didn't come back to the second Deadpool because Ryan Reynolds kind of asserted his control. Yeah. As an actor, and he's the face of the franchise. Like, who's gonna say? Like, no studio is gonna say no to that. And then from there, it's kind of known, I guess, where it's known now to us, but it's known to the Hollywood that's their MO. And it feels like that's what she picked up with this film. Wow. And it's like, oh, okay, I can just take over from the director. She had access to the editing bay. Where the director is just supposed to be there with his artistic vision. Right. She rewrote scenes. Her best friend helped give a song for the score. Taylor Swift. You see what I mean? Like, she truly usurped his authority. And a lot of people are saying it is because he was green. And I'm going to disagree with that. I don't believe that he was naive. I believe that the culture is toxic. Right. If anything, that it's okay for somebody to come in and take what you've worked 5 years on. No,
and that's absolutely not. And that goes back to what you're saying. The culture is toxic to where it's it's acceptable, and now they just continue. We continually give them projects, and now that's their franchise, and that's it.
It's theirs. And so when I read that, and then I was like, what's going to happen to Wayfarer? And Wayfarer is fun. I think Baldoni and his business partner Jamie Heath, who is a minority, a black man. And what she accused him of in her complaint was she told him to turn around and not look at her while she was in her trailer. Allegedly.
She allegedly said that about Jamie.
Which I got a whole problem with that. Anyway, if don't go down the rabbit hole, beware if you go down this rabbit hole. Make sure you have a timer so you can come out, because literally I went down a rabbit hole and found out stuff about Blake Lively I didn't know. They hit it well.
Oh, wow.
Like, shout out to the internet, because PR. Yeah. Shout out to PR because they hit it well. She had a whole clothing line called Antebellum, which is like slavery South. She got married. South, yeah. She got married on a plantation. Okay. She has a video of her at 17 talking about she wore blackface to look like Scary Spice. I won't go there. I'm not going to hold that against her, but unequivocally, I believe Justin Baldoni is proving his innocence. Right. So one, you try to hijack a film franchise from this man, and then you accuse him of the worst thing that you could do to a man in Hollywood after Me Too, right? After Harvey Weinstein, right? Is of sexual harassment. And then Justin Baldoni is fighting back. So I believe that people that are not outraged about what's happening at Wayfarer is because they don't understand the energy and the time that it takes to create a film. Right. And the amount of 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, whatever it takes to get something out that's of quality. It takes time. And to have somebody come in at the last minute because their husband is popular and they're popular and they are, quote unquote, the American standard of beauty. Okay. Anyway, I ain't even gonna go down that line. But they are the epitome of that, and they take this from this man whose whole ethos was about being transparent and honest about what he went through, how he changed, and how he want to affect change in the world through his media.
Right.
And then the very thing that he's trying to affect change on, you accuse him of.
Mm-mm. She brought it.
Joe, it's one of the most diabolical plans ever, and people need to be aware. So as we wrap out, this is I'm following this case. I'm going to follow it all the way through because he sued them for $400 million.
Rightfully so.
Oh, one of his lawsuits, he got a suit against the New York Times because allegedly they colluded with her.
Oh, wow, to publish.
Right.
Yeah.
And they were working on the article way before he even had a chance to respond. Joe, they didn't even get this man a full day to respond.
Oh, no.
It's like somebody saying you hurt them and they didn't give you a full day to respond.
And
they just put it out. And when I read it, me, Kalisha Zachery here in Texas, it came across my feed and I was like, what? I automatically was like, somebody sexually harassed Serena Vanderwoodson, and that was her character.
Right.
But, I was a little bit outraged. And then when all of this stuff came out, I felt duped. And I think that is why pop culture is saying that this it's always been rigged. I believe the internet, when I say the internet, I believe there's a lot of people on YouTube that's interested in this. There's a lot of people on different platforms that are talking about this. But I believe that the heart of the people are tired of being misled in media. And you look at them and they just seem perfect and honorable. And you say, oh, they're successful, so he has to have integrity.
Right. And that's not.
Oh, the text message show, baby.
Yeah.
There was no integrity there. She literally bombed him out of his movie. And he didn't even get to. He went to the premiere, but he had to stay in the basement with his family.
What?
Okay, Joe. Ain't no way.
What?
He had to stay in the basement with his family. So here's the key for this episode, because it's important, and I hope Justin Baldoni, Jamie Heath, the team from Wayfair, Steve Sorowitz, I hope y'all hear this, because forgiveness can de-escalate conflicts and transform resentment into constructive responses. So forgiving them is so important, because I believe that the whole team was done wrong with this project, and I can't even imagine what. Not just financially what was lost, but what was lost creatively.
Right.
Because she took authorship of his vision. Mm-hmm. But when leaders are aware, they are better able to recognize the value of different perspectives, and they can foster an environment of collaboration and empathy. So no matter if this is your first film, if it's a short, if it's a documentary, just awareness is key. And this includes removing toxic people, which is crucial to protect the workplace environment and improve team morale and productivity, as their negative behaviors can damage company culture and potentially lead to turnover. There were people on the set who was texting him, "She's taking over your film." And you could see in the text message, he was like, "I'm trying to negotiate." Justin, you should have let her go when she didn't sign that contract.
Right.
I don't care if it was Meryl Streep. It's not worth it, because it's going to impact the creativity on that set. Mm-hmm. And so we cannot be naive in this area, no matter what. Even the men, so to the male actors out there specifically, and I'm not saying that I don't believe women have had the short end of this stick for so long, because they have. But to the men out there, your integrity will protect you. Be very, very mindful. And when you're in a working environment, you cannot play around in this climate.
No.
It can't even be jokey.
No.
Because you just don't know how somebody is feeling or how they're going to interpret it. You need to protect yourself and your creativity, your creative expression when you're working with people, because you just don't know. And we have to do a better job of having critical thinking when we're reading these articles. I talked about it in an earlier episode, but this is even more. We can't always take everything at face value. We have to think. And just because someone says something happened doesn't mean it's necessarily true. And on that note, Joe, we're going to wrap out.
All right.
All right. So thank y'all for brothers and sisters for being a part of It Doesn't Work That Way community. We would be grateful if you could give us a 5-star rating. And share your thoughts on Apple Podcasts. Y'all, we need our ratings on Apple Podcasts. We thank you for those who have rated on Apple Podcasts. But Apple Podcasts allows this beautiful show and the others within our network to reach a wider audience, because we're talking about real good stuff. Leave ratings and reviews. Simply scroll to the bottom of the show page and click on Write a Review. And since you're already here, go on and hit that subscribe, follow, favorite button and join our network. And let us know your thoughts and comments. We'll see you next time. Bye.